What's up? What's up? What's up? That reference is probably a little bit before your time, but if your parents see you watching this video and they hear it, they'll get it. Anyways, Chapter 1 of the Titan's Curse, Percy Jackson. Percy finds himself at a school dance with Thalia, Annabeth, and Grover, and they're trying to save these two kids who are supposed to be demigods. And the vice principal, Mr. Thorne, somehow seems to be a monster who can throw knives or throw something that can petrify everybody that's around them. And so Percy's at school dance. He's dancing with Annabeth. It gets a little awkward. Thalia and Grover are dancing. Grover hates it. Thalia's just like, come on, goat boy. And then Percy looks up, and the two kids are gone. The D'Angelos are gone. That's the kid's last name. Their first names are escaping me, but we'll get back into that soon. But he looks up and they're gone. And he walks through the crowd, and he sees Dr. Thorne leading the kids away. And so he goes. He's like, I should wait for my group and see if they'll help me rally. But he's like, but these monsters work fast, and they could be dead by the time I gather everybody up. So he follows Mr. Thorne, and he sees the kids alone. And he goes, oh my God, this made my job easy. And the kids are just scared, and they're trying to warn him with his eyes. And then Mr. Thorne throws a thorn or a knife or whatever at him, and it gets him in his side, and it hurts. And then Percy's like, dang, I really should have waited for my posse, but he didn't, so he's about to get messed up. So that's what happened in chapter 1. Let's see what's gonna go down in chapter 2. Chapter 2. The vice principal gets a missile launcher. That's gonna be crazy. Let's see what's gonna happen. I didn't know what kind of monster Dr. Thorne was, but he was fast. Maybe I could defend myself if I could get my shield activated. All that it would take was a touch of my wristwatch. But defending the D'Angelo kids was another matter. I needed help, and there was only one way I could think to get it. I closed my eyes. What are you doing, Jackson? Hissed Dr. Thorne. Keep moving. I opened my eyes and kept shuffling forward. It's my shoulder, I lied, trying to sound miserable, which wasn't hard. It burns. Bah! My poison causes pain and will not kill you. Walk. Thorne herded us outside, and I tried to concentrate. I pictured Grover's face. I focused on my feelings of fear and danger. Last summer, Grover had created an empathy link between us. He sent me visions in my dreams to let me know when he was in trouble. As far as I knew, we were still linked, but I'd never tried to contact Grover before. I didn't even know if it would work while Grover was awake. Hey, Grover, I thought. Thorne's kidnapping us. He's poisonous, spike-throwing maniac. Help! Thorne marched us into the woods. We took a snowy path dimly lit by old-fashioned lamplights. My shoulder ached. The wind blowing through my ripped clothes was so cold that I felt like a Percy-sicle. That's funny, because his name's Percy and a popsicle. So he's cold and his name's Anyway. There is a clearing ahead, Thorne said. We will summon your ride. What ride? Bianca demanded. Where are you taking us? Silence, you insufferable girl. Don't talk to my sister that way, Nico said. His voice quivered, but I was impressed that he had the guts to say anything at all. Dr. Thorne made a growling sound that definitely wasn't human. It made the hair stand up on the back of my neck, but I forced myself to keep walking and pretend I was being a good little captive. Meanwhile, I projected my thoughts like crazy. Anything to get Grover's attention. Grover! Apples! Tin cans! Get your furry goat behind out here and bring some heavily armed friends. Halt, Thorne said. The woods had opened up. We'd reached the cliff overlooking the sea. At least I sensed the sea was down there, hundreds of feet below. I could hear the waves churning, and I could smell the cold, salty froth, but all I could see was mist and darkness. Dr. Thorne pushed us toward the edge. I stumbled, and Bianca caught me. Thanks, I murmured. What is he? She whispered. How do we fight him? I'm working on it. I'm scared, Nico mumbled. He was fitting with something, a little metal toy soldier of some kind. Stop talking, Dr. Thorne said. Face me, we turned. Thorne's two-tone eyes glittered hungrily. He pulled something from under his coat, and first I thought it was a switchblade, but it was only a phone. He pressed the side button and said, The package, it is ready to deliver. There was a garbled reply, and I realized Thorn was in a walkie-talkie mode. This seemed way too modern and creepy. A monster using a mobile phone? I glanced behind me, wondering how far the drop was. Dr. Thorn laughed. By all means, son of Poseidon, jump. There is the sea. Save yourself. What did he call you? Bianca muttered. I'll explain later, I said. You do have a plan, right? Grover, I thought desperately. Come to me. Maybe I could get both the D'Angelos to jump with me into the ocean. If we survived the fall, I could use the water to protect us. I'd done things like that before. If my dad was in good mood and listening, he might help. Maybe. I would kill you before you reach the water, Dr. Thorne said as if he was reading my thoughts. You do not realize who I am, do you? A flicker of movement behind me and another missile whistled so close to me that it nicked my ear. Something had sprung up behind Dr. Thorne, like a catapult, but more flexible, almost like a tail. Unfortunately, Thorne said, you are wanted alive. If possible, otherwise you would already be dead. Who wants us? Bianca demanded. Because if you think you'll get ransom, you're wrong. We don't have any family. Nico and I, her voice broke a little, we've got no one but each other. Ah, Dr. Thorne said. Do not worry, little brats. You will be meeting my employer soon enough. Then you will have a brand new family. Luke, I said. You work for Luke? Dr. Thorne's mouth twisted with distance when I said the name of my old enemy, a former friend who tried to kill me several times. You have no idea what is happening, Percy Jackson. I will let the general enlighten you. You are going to do him a great service tonight. He is looking forward to meeting you. The general, I asked. Then I realized I said it with a French accent. I mean, who's the general? Thorne looked toward the horizon. Ah, here we are. Your transportation. I turned and saw a light in the distance, a searchlight over the sea. Then I heard the chopping of the helicopter blades, getting louder and closer. Where are you taking us? Nico said. You should be honored, my boy. You will have the opportunity to join a great army, just like that silly game you play with the cards and dolls. They're not dolls, they're figurines, and you can take your great army and... Now, Dr. Thorne warned. You will change your mind about joining us, my boy, and if you do not, well, there are other uses for half-bloods. We have many monstrous mouths to feed. The great stirring is underway. The great what? I asked. Anything keep him talking while I try to figure out a plan. The stirring of monsters, Dr. Thorne smiled evilly. The worst of them was most powerful are now waking, monsters that have not been seen in the thousands of years. They will cause death and destruction, the likes of which mortals have never known. And soon we shall have the most important monster of all, the one that will bring back the downfall of Olympus. Okay, Bianca whispered to me. He's completely nuts. We have to jump off the cliff, I told her quietly, into the sea. Oh, super idea. You're completely nuts too. I never get the chance to argue with her because just then an invisible force slammed into me. Looking back on it, Annabeth's move was brilliant. Wearing her cap of invisibility, she plowed into the D'Angelo's enemy, knocking us to the ground. For a split second, Dr. Thorne was taken by surprise, so his first volley of missiles zipped harmlessly over our heads. This gave Thalia and Grover a chance to advance from behind, Thalia wielding her magic shield, Aegis. If you've never seen Thalia run into battle, you have never been truly frightened. She uses a huge spear that expands from this collapsible mace canister she carries in her pocket, but that's not the scary part. Her shield is modeled after one of her dad Zeus uses, also called Aegis, a gift from Athena. The shield has the head of the Gorgon Medusa molded into the bronze, and even though it won't turn you into stone, it's so horrible most people will panic and run at the sight of it. Even Dr. Thorne winced and growled when he saw it. Thalia moved in with her spear. For Zeus! I thought Dr. Thorne was a goner. Thalia jabbed at his head, but he snarled and swallowed the spear aside. His hand changed into an orange paw with enormous claws that sparked against Thalia's shield, as if he slashed. If it hadn't been for Aegis, Thalia would have been sliced like a loaf of bread. As it was, she managed to roll backward and land on her feet. The sound of the helicopter was getting louder behind me, but I didn't dare look. Dr. Thorne launched another volley of missiles at Thalia, and this time I could see how he did it. He had a tail, a leathery scorpion-like tail that bristled with spikes at the tip. The missiles deflected off Aegis, but the force of the impact knocked Thalia down. Grover sprang forward. He put his reed pipes into his lips and began to play. A frantic jig that sounded like something pirates would dance to. Grass broke through the snow. Within seconds, rope-thick weeds were wrapping around Dr. Thorne's legs, entangling them. Dr. Thorne roared and began to change. He grew larger until he was in his true form. His face still human, but his body that of a huge lion. His leathery, spiky tail whipped deadly thorns in all directions. "A manticore," Annabeth said, now visible. Her magical New York Yankee cap had come off when she'd plowed into us. "Who are you people?" Bianca D'Angelo demanded. "And what is that?" "A manticore," Nico gasped. "He's got 3,000 attack power and plus 5 to saving throws." I didn't know what he was talking about, but I didn't have time to worry about it. The manticore clawed Grover's magic weed to shreds and turned toward us with a snarl. "Get down!" Annabeth pushed the D'Angelo flat into the snow. The last second, I remembered my own shield. I hit my wristwatch and metal plating sprawled out into a thick bronze shield. Not a moment too soon. The thorns' impact against it with such force they dented the metal. The beautiful shield, a gift from my brother, was badly damaged. I wasn't sure it would even stop a second volley. I heard a thwack and a yelp, and Grover landed next to me with a thud. "Yield!" the monster roared. "Never!" Thalia yelled from across the field. She charged the monster, and for a second I thought she would run him through, but then there was a thunderous noise and a blaze of light from behind us. The helicopter appeared out of the mist, hovering just beyond the cliffs. It was a sleek black military-style gunship with attachments on the sides that looked like laser-gilded rockets. The helicopter had to be manned by mortals, but what was it doing here? How could mortals be working with a monster? The searchlights blinded Thalia, and the manticore swatted her way with its tail. Her shield flew off into the snow. Her spear flew in another direction. "No!" I ran out to help her. I parried away a spike just before it would have hit her chest. I raised my shield over us, but I knew it wouldn't be enough. Dr. Thorne laughed. "Now do you see how hopeless it is? Yield, little heroes." We were trapped between a monster and a fully armed helicopter. We had no choice. Then I heard a clear, piercing sound, the call of a hunting horn blowing in the woods. The manticore froze. For a moment no one moved. There was only the swirl of snow and wind and chopping of helicopter blades. "No," Dr. Thorne said. "It cannot be." His sentence was cut short when something shot past me like a streak of moonlight. A glowing silver arrow sprouted from Dr. Thorne's shoulder. He staggered backward, wailing in agony. "Curse you!" Thorne cried. He unleashed his spikes, dozens of them at once, into the woods where the arrow had come from. But just as fast, silvery arrows shot back in reply. It almost looked like the arrows had intercepted the thorns in midair and sliced them in two. But my eyes must have been playing tricks on me. No one, not even Apollo's kids at camp, could shoot with that much accuracy. The manticore pulled the arrow out of his shoulder with a howl of pain. His breathing was heavy. I tried to swipe at him with my sword, but he wasn't as injured as he looked. He dodged my attack, slammed his tail into my shield, knocking me aside. Then the archers came from the woods. They were girls, about a dozen of them. The youngest was maybe 10, the oldest about 14 like me. They wore silvery ski parkas and jeans. They were all armed with bows. They advanced on the manticore in determined expressions. The hunters, Annabeth cried. Next to me, Thalia muttered, "Oh, wonderful." I didn't have a chance to ask what she meant. One of the older archers stepped forward with her bow drawn. She was tall and graceful and coppery-colored skin. Unlike the other girl, she had silver circlet braided into the top of her long dark hair, so she looked like some kind of Persian princess. "Permission to kill, my lady." I couldn't tell who she was talking to because she kept her eyes on the manticore. The monster wailed, "This is not fair! Direct interference! It's against the ancient laws!" "Not so," another girl said. This one was a little younger than me, maybe 12 or 13. She had auburn hair gathered back in a ponytail, strange eyes, silvery yellow like the moon. Her eyes so beautiful it made me catch my breath, but her expression was stern and dangerous. "The hunting of all wild beasts is within my sphere, and you, foul creature, are a wild beast." She looked at the older girl with the circlet. "Zoe, permission granted." The manticore growled, "If I cannot have these alive, I shall have them dead." He lunged at Thalia and me, knowing we were weak and dazed. "No!" Annabeth yelled, and she charged the monster. "Get back, half-blood," the girl with the circlet said. "Get out of the line of fire." But Annabeth leaped onto the monster's back and drove her knife into his mane. The manticore howled, turning in circles, and his tail flailing as Annabeth hung on for dear life. "Fire!" Zoe ordered. "No!" I screamed, but the hunters let their arrows fly. The first caught the manticore in the neck, and another hit his chest. The manticore staggered backward, wailing, "This is not the end, huntress. You shall pay." And before anyone could react, the monster, with Annabeth still on his back, leaped over the cliff and tumbled in the darkness. "Annabeth!" I yelled. I tried to run after her, but our enemies weren't done with us. There was a snap, snap, snap from the helicopter and the sound of gunfire. Most of the hunters scattered as tiny holes appeared in the snow at their feet, but the girl with auburn hair just looked up calmly at the helicopter. "Mortals," she announced, "are not allowed to witness my hunt." She thrust out her hand and the helicopter exploded into dust. No, not dust. The black metal dissolved into a flock of birds, ravens which scattered into the night. The hunters advanced on us. The one called Zoe stopped short when she saw Thalia. "You," she said, with distaste. "Zoe Nightshade." Thalia's voice trembled with anger. "For her perfect timing, as usual." Zoe scanned the rest of us. "4 half-bloods and a satyr, my lady." "Yes," the younger girl said. "Some of Kieran's campers, I see." "Annabeth," I yelled, "you have to let us save her." The auburn-haired girl turned toward me. "I'm sorry, Percy Jackson, but your friend is beyond help." I tried to struggle to my feet, but a couple of other girls held me down. "You're in no condition to be hurling yourself off the cliff," the auburn-haired girl said. "Let me go," I demanded. Who do you think you are?" Zoe stepped forward as if to smack me. "No," the other girl ordered. "I sense no disrespect, Zoe. He is simply distraught. He does not understand." The young girl looked at me, her eyes colder and brighter than the winter moon. "I am Artemis," she said, "goddess of the hunt." So we got introduced to a new monster, the manticore, a new god, Artemis, who is the goddess of the hunt. Things looks like they're about to start turning up, guys. Tune in next time, and I'll be reading chapter 3 of The Titan's Curse. Later.